containing this information. Read it carefully.
Speaker John Boehner says he wanted the Democrats to have a plan, and guess what? Now they do. Senate Democrats are preparing a spending bill much different than the one passed last week by House Republicans. A Democratic aide telling Reuters the bill would essentially keep government spending at its current level through the end of the fiscal year on September 30. It does factor in the $4 billion in cuts included in the temporary spending measure passed earlier today. With us now, Republican Congressman Reid Ribble of Wisconsin, a member of the Budget Committee. Congressman, welcome.
Hey, Jerry, it's good to have you. Good to be back on the show today.
All right, so what do you make of this plan from Democrats? We waited. They have come out with something here. Apparently, they're advocating spending that would be $55 billion higher than the bill that was passed by the House.
Well, it's the same agenda that they've had for the last several years. They're still convinced that spending and deficit is how you create jobs. We're obviously convinced of a different paradigm, that we believe that we need to reduce debt. But listen, it's not just about debt. It's about restoring the American dream for our kids and our grandkids. And there's a philosophical divide here.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. There is a philosophical divide. And what I'm curious about is, will these two sides ever be able to come together? It seems to me that we're on a pattern of passing CR after CR, and we're not dealing with the big picture. When will you guys get down to brass tacks?
Well, I think that's a legitimate question. I think the American people are going to need to weigh in here and let Gerri Reid know that they want a different path for their children. And as far as the continuing resolutions, whether we do this in the short term and in 2 weeks or 4 weeks, or we bite it off all at one time, I don't think really matters all that much as long as we keep the government funded. But what really matters is whether or not we're going to cut the spending and whether we're going to get control over our deficit. That's what matters here. And I personally don't care if we do it in short bites and small bites or whether we do it all at once.
Well, it's a big wall to surmount. $14 trillion in debt. That's what the federal government has. $1.4 trillion deficit. So we got a long way to go on that score. I also want to talk to you, though, about Ben Bernanke, the Federal Reserve Chairman, appearing in front of a congressional committee today in the House, and he got pummeled, really criticized for the way he's handled the mortgage meltdown, the subsequent downturn in the economy. Do you think he took too much heat, or is he somebody responsible for all the trouble we've seen?
Well, he's certainly participated in it. I mean, listen, we expect the chairman of the Federal Reserve to see some of this stuff coming. Now, even if we gave him a pass on the mortgage meltdown and said, okay, no one could have seen that coming, listen, we all see this debt bubble that we're facing. And if we're not willing to take on that challenge when we see it coming, then that's a real failure of leadership. And I think Republicans in the House are getting frustrated with the chairman.
Well, interestingly today, he said the GOP's plan for cutting spending would actually cut 200,000 jobs. Now, this is a number that's in contention, a lot of debate about it. Does he have it right?
Well, he doesn't have the numbers right. It's interesting he changed his mind from just yesterday where he said it wouldn't. And so I'm beginning to wonder exactly what he's thinking. But I have spent 30 years running my own company, and I can tell you that every time the federal government dips into our pocket and takes money out of it to pay off debt or increase taxes or try to fund some program, there's less money in circulation for me to add another job. And listen, they told us a long time ago that President Obama said it, the chairman agreed with him, that if we spent all this money in stimulus, that unemployment wouldn't go above 9 or 8%. And here we are, 2 years later, and we're still at 9%.
It's totally true.
Totally true.
But I have to ask you this. Look, is the Fed chairman speaking out of both sides of his mouth? Because on the one hand, he says that the Republicans want to cut the budget too much. And on the other hand, he says, we've really got to worry about this debt and do something about it. Which Ben Bernanke do I believe?
Yeah, well, I think that's a fair question to ask him, and I'm sure if I get another chance to have him in front of me, I might ask him that same question. I don't want to accuse him of talking out of both sides of his mouth. He's a pretty smart guy. But listen, what I really want to tell the American people is just try to imagine what life would be like if we actually would get to a balanced budget. Imagine what life would be like if we didn't have $200 billion a year of debt service and interest payments.
Right.
There's a better future coming for us. We just have to work hard to get it.
Well, Congressman Ribble, appreciate your time today. Thanks for chatting with us.
Thanks, Jerry.
All right, banks are doing better, and it's no wonder.